Hi everybody, Dr. Hopewell here, coming to you in Module 2, talking about publishing on the internet. I wanted to kind of practice what I preach by providing a video to go with this module. And we're talking about publishing. We're talking about publishing on the web. We're talking about publishing on the internet for your students, and for your students to have an opportunity to publish their work. So we'll talk about those two things. First of all, for you as a teacher, many of you are probably posting homework and lesson plan type things online for your students. But I can't tell you how many times I've heard, I didn't do that because I didn't remember what we talked about in class. When you provide online tutorial or online instruction for your students, you allow them the opportunity to revisit the things that you talked about in class and to go back and be reminded of those things that they may have been distracted or may not quite have gotten in class. Need a little bit of reminder and prompting on that. You know, there's also the added advantage of being able to communicate that to mom and dad or to guardians, folks that are taking care of your kids at home. You know, you give them a prompt, you give them some things to think about. Now, I realize you're not going to record your entire day, but when you have certain items, certain projects that need explanation and instruction, you may want to consider doing something like this, publishing a quick video that you put on your website for your students. There's lots of ways to publish. You can record with a camera, as I'm doing at my computer in my office. You can also do what we'll talk about later on as a screencast, and I'll publish some examples of that for you from another class that I teach. And these are just multiple ways. There are many, many ways to publish online. There's text, but there's also video and audio, which is what I would like to promote to you as part of our new and emerging technologies, is the advantage that we now have with the web and the tools that we have that are pretty much on every computer these days to project our image and our voice and some bit of instruction and explanation to go with your classes. So for this module, we are going to be creating either a webcast like I'm doing now or a screencast that we will be talking about here in the next items in your content. Some examples of that. A screencast is basically just capturing what's happening on your computer. So this is really good for things like giving examples of papers, or maybe if you do English language arts and you want to talk about writing, you can do that. You could do a screencast for doing some math problems, those sort of things. So at any rate, just wanted to put this tool in your hand, talk about these things for you as a tool for your teaching. Now, let's talk a little bit about your students publishing. Now, there are some things you need to be careful about. Just students putting their faces and their images out on the internet. You need to check with mom and dad, make sure that that's something that they're willing to do. But you can also provide you know, protected ways to do this, and whether it's for students doing projects where they project, they do a video or they do some kind of a screencast potentially. But the bottom line for that is that you heighten the reality of what's happening to their project. So, you know, lots of students think, oh, here you go, turn this in, it's a worksheet, whatever, whatever, whatever. Oh, we do our project, oh, here you go. But when you record it and you put it on the web and you provide either limited access, as you can do, or just published access out on the internet, it really heightens the game for your students. This is a real thing that people might actually look at. You know, everybody's seen, you know, silly videos out on the internet. They know what this is like. This will get out there. So again, be careful. Check with mom and dad on what you publish. But there are ways for, you know, for whether it's on your own personal blog as a teacher or on your school's website, to protect those, to bring those behind a password protected fence, if you will, and that you only share that with certain people. Maybe your building administrator wants to view some of your students' projects, or maybe they're doing something that has to do with parks and development in your town, and you want them to publish that out to maybe some city councilmen, or maybe you want to send that out to some Parks and Recs folks and have them look at that and grade that. You know, having those people come to your classroom is not always an option, but publishing that out on the internet now, you can share that in a limited way with those people. Again, heightens the importance and the realism of the projects that your students are doing. Okay, so again, talking about publishing, lots of different ways to do that, whether you use a webcam as I'm doing or a screencast as we'll talk about next. There are lots and lots of different ways that you can publish your information on the internet. And it really helps you from having to repeat yourself. And it just provides, again, the anytime, anywhere access that your students might need to support their learning. All right, happy publishing, and I hope you have a great time with this project.